Welcome to Center Heist Productions. Please hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right hand corner. Muchly would appreciate that. Thank you to my followers as we've built a good community here and just trying to grow it. So if you could tell your friends and family, that would be great, and share it as well. And if you come across the channel, please don't leave without subscribing. Helps the channel grow, as we have an integral Habs channel here that has a good community, and we're just continuing trying to grow. And so, yeah, if you could hit the likes as well, that would be great. So, we're going to get right to it. This was a game from last night where the Panthers were in Montreal. And again, this was a huge game. Montreal managed to come out on top again over the Panthers. Amazingly, that's two games against the Panthers that we've taken. I'm totally impressed. Played a good, solid game, too. All right, so we're going to get to the first period. There was 2 goals for the Habs, none for the Panthers. 1 for the Panthers, none for the Habs. And in the third, we got another one to get the assurance goal. So his final score was 3-1. Montembeault played a solid game. Bobrovsky was in net for Florida, and Caulfield got the game-winning goal. Cole Caulfield scored his team-leading 33rd goal and added an assist to help the Montreal Canadiens beat the Florida Panthers 3-1 Saturday night. Patrick Laine and Christian Dvorak with his 100th career goal also scored for Montreal. Sam Montembeault, and you'd say he might not have been as busy, made 21 saves, including windmill glove stop on Carter Verhaeghe late. And that was quite a beautiful save, actually. One of those ones you need. Mackie Samokovic scored for Florida with the loss. For the second time in 9 games, Sergei Bobrovsky stopped 12 shots. So that tells you there's not a whole lot of shots in this game. All right, first star was Cole Caulfield, of course. 1 goal, 1 assist. He had a really good game. +1. Slavkovsky had an assist. +1. He had a really solid game as well. And Montembeault was solid, even though not many shots. Still, he made some big stops at key times. 1 goal against. All right, scoring summary 5:15. Patrick Laine scored, assisted by Lane Hudson, and Cole Caulfield on the power play. So good to see Laine. I mean, again, you'd have to say Bobrovsky positioned himself well, but when guys like this tee off, it's hard to stop these. The Matthews and the Laines who have that type of shot that are so pinpoint accurate and powerful. So anyway, great goal at 5:15. Then at 15:56, Cole Caulfield gets a nice goal. It's just a nice spinorama. Just kind of put you in the mind of Denis Savard, and shot it from an odd angle on the inside, close side, blocker side there on Bobrovsky. And I think he caught him napping it a little bit. Put it high, roofed it, and Jari Slavkovsky made the nice drop pass to him. That line had a solid game all the way through. Then we got into the second period, so it was 2-0 Montreal. Then we got into the second period. Samokovic scores, assisted by Verhaeghe and Sam Bennett. Of course, Bennett. That should have been called. There was really bad officiating. That was a total pick on Mike Matheson. So it played some serious interference there. In the old days, though, however, that's a beautiful play in the old days, but definitely was a pick. And there was a lot of this that the Heineman penalty was not a penalty. Guy ran into him, and Heineman gets a penalty. So the officiating leaves a lot to be desired. Anyway, at 8:11 in the third period, so it was 2-1 Montreal. Christian Dvorak gets his 7th, assisted by Savard. And then we go to the games. So that made your final 3-1. Total shots 22-15 for the Panthers. So not a whole lot of shots. Kind of average for Florida. Montreal was even under average, didn't take many shots. That's saying something. That's telling you Bobrovsky, these shots were accurate on him, because I can't say he played bad. Hits 35-21. Yeah, there was a bit of physicality in this, and I'd have to say Florida, we're smoking us quite a bit there. I like seeing Heineman's response, but we need more response from other guys. And I would like to see more response from Jack Eye and then Struble, especially, and Anderson. Um, just when it comes to physical games like that, they're going to have to step it up as leaders. All right, so 35 or 31-25 in the faceoff department. Again, for Florida, 0 for 2 on the power play. We had great penalty killing for the Habs. I thought they got a. Yeah, so. And 1 for 3 for Montreal. Penalty minutes, 6-4 for Florida, 25. The giveaways, 25-9. Takeaways, 5-3 for Florida. Block shots, 24-14 for Montreal. And like I said, there were several penalties in this game that were like the Heineman penalty. You can't even put that on Heineman. That's bad officiating. He was standing still, and the guy was skated backwards and wasn't looking and backed into him. How you get a penalty for that? That's just a bonehead call by a referee. And Dvorak took one for high sticking. Anywho, with that being said, the same thing. There was a goal called back on us because Galley was in the net and had a bit of interference on Brabowski. Otherwise, this game probably would have been 4-1. But you look close up to that, and Brabowski shows you veteran intelligence. He overplayed that. You could see he knew how to act it out so that it would get called back because really there was barely any contact on the stick, but he just went through the motions. You could see how the stick dropped very easily. So that's a veteran move, and that's actually smart. So you got to tip your hat off to Bobrovsky. Good on his part. Again, officiating like last night, there was just so many calls here and there, like the just bad officiating in this game. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Um, Things that got missed and should have been called. Not a great officiating game, but anyway, good solid game though, entertainment wise, and amazing how Montreal came up and put on a great performance, nicely tight, good effort all the way around. Line one was exceptional. Line four was really solid. Heineman really stood out last night, being he was definitely the most physical Canadian out there for sure. Want to see, I still want to see, Jake and Army are playing good, but you can tell I think Army's still nursing something. And for Jake, he still hasn't been quite himself since the contract signing. So I'd like to see him kick it up a couple notches. Although he went on a breakaway, I believe, and yeah, they had odd man chances there, and we had several breaks like that we missed. We didn't connect on, so there were some good opportunities for the Habs in this game. They were really playing, forcing Florida's hand quite a bit, picking them off. Good, good, good neutral zone coverage. There was definitely the first period was definitely Montreal. Second period, you could definitely tell that Florida made adjustments. It was a much better effort coming back from Florida in that second period. And even though the shots weren't high, there was a lot of high quality shots. So I got to tip my hat off. Monty played really solid, even though the shots weren't high on him. And I don't always give him the credit, but you had to in this one. He was stayed in position and couldn't blame him for the one goal. Like I said, it was a bonehead move on behalf of the referee because it would have been called back as a penalty. Should have been called a penalty. But then again, there you go. Another veteran who makes a smart move, Sam Bennett, knowing how to pull that play off and block Matheson from getting the guy. But that's a case of Evans automatically should have caught Samanovic in front of the net. He should have taken up that player. He was there. And again, been seeing the odd miscues from Evans lately, and yeah, I just like to see him get his head out of that because he plays great. Don't get me wrong. He's just been making the odd errors here and there, which wasn't what we were seeing before that contract. So, like to see him get back into mode. Just because you signed a contract doesn't mean you let up. Um, Line three, lots of effort. Christian Dvorak had a good game. Anderson had a solid game. Just uh, just a little. I like to see just a little bit more physicality from. And what can you say about Galley? Galley just brings it all the time. That's why you seen him bring it to the net, and that goal get called back. But you got to go to the net. Period. It's a must-do thing. Just great acting on Bobrovsky's part. Uh, Line two was better tonight. Good effort. I can say good effort from Newhook, except I don't like he's playing better the last few games. However, still with that physicality end of it, he comes storming in and he doesn't want to take the body. That's got to change. Everything else is well, between that and his defensive play, those are the two areas he's got to change. He's great in transition and setting up plays and going to the net when wait to receive a pass. Great at that offensive side of him. No one's knocking that. It's just come on. This is a time. This is like the playoffs for Montreal. Get physical, and I want to see him get physical. He's got tons of speed, and his defensive play's got to pick up because he likes to stand around a lot. That was something we were accusing Slav on, and Slav has picked up, thankfully, his defensive play, which is nice to see. Still got to work on keeping his two hands on his stick, but Slav had a solid game. And a good game from Patrick Laine. Good effort there. Wah, so, but he's just not showing me that he wants it bad enough. Not a bad game, but he just doesn't look like the Joshua Wah of last year. I don't know. I want to see more out of him, and I love this guy, but I don't know. I don't know what's there, but there's something not quite clicking, and I don't know what it is. And Montreal definitely has to pick up a second line centerman for next season, so that he can complement um, Dvorak and Lane, because I think both of those guys with their caliber, they're going to need somebody who's at that level to dish out the puck. There's just no end of some buts. You want production from the second line. That's the only way you're going to get it. That's what's holding that second line back. You can't have, sorry, Newhook is not the answer at center. He's not a centerman. And if anything, I think we got to ask our questions. And it's going to be something in the off season. Um, they still got time, Doc and Newhook, but it doesn't look that promising that those were. Um, I think their trade. Well, I didn't like the Newhook trade at all because I think we overpaid. The Doc one, it's kind of iffy. I know, yeah, he's been awful this year, but due to the injuries. But I don't think us giving up Romanov was that huge of a thing. We've got a lot of great left-sided defensemen, and one thing about Romy, yeah, he was a good player and made those big hits, but we got Jackeye, we've got Gooley, we got Struble, and I think they're all better in that department. Because one thing I found about Romy, and he was there for a few years, and he was still getting beat because he was going out of his way to make hits, and that's where I think though our we did. It wasn't that huge of a thing to get rid of him, so I don't find that trade as we gave up anything crazy, but it's not a win in a trade, if you know what I mean. I don't think these repo trades are good for us, and I hope from here we've learned our lesson, because between the Doc and New Hook trade, I don't think you want to make another one of those where it's just not working out the greatest. Like Doc is not looking like a second line center, maybe a second line player, and he might fit in on the third line, because it's going to be hard to say. Um, I think he could be a second line winger, to tell you the truth, but we don't know. We don't know. We didn't see his best when he came back, but who knows? Maybe he was still injured, and that's a big question to ask too. Maybe that was something that was kept secret, and he wasn't quite really healed, and they thought he was, but that injury, maybe it didn't heal properly. So there's big question marks on Doc. That I give him a benefit of the doubt on that aspect of it, whereas Newhook's been playing all season long and been healthy, and there's just that trade definitely just doesn't look good. It looks like an overpayment, a first rounder and a second rounder. I just think it was a way overpayment. Now, it's not to say that Newhook's a bad player. I love his speed. I've said that. He's definitely a third or fourth liner. I don't care what anyone says. He is not a second line player. We have to utilize him there at the moment because our talent is at that level that we have so many fourth and third liners. However, we do know Heineman. Who knows? Heineman, we don't know what his ceiling is that way. Could he be a second or third liner? I think he could, but it's just that we got such a good fourth line with the mix of him and Armia and Evans, and I don't think you want to break that up right now. But I think he's got a lot of possibilities. And I do hope they sign Armia. I'm sorry, but I like that fourth line. And really, they play more like they're the second line, to tell you the truth. They complement that first line so well. They seem to be able to be put out on the ice in different situations. Now, with saying that, great solid game. I mean, Florida was started pouring it on in the second period, and we're really coming on at the end of that third period. And Montreal showed some serious character with holding that lead and finally getting the assurance. It was good to see that effort. Now, what I'd like to see, what baffles my mind, is you beat the Stanley Cup champions, but you lose to Seattle. I'm kind of baffled on that, and that seems to be the thing. It seems like when teams are at our level down in the standings, we have trouble with them more than we do the better teams. I don't know. I'm not sure what the answer is to that. Um, it is what it is. Now we got Ottawa coming up, and I think those are going to be huge games. We have two games left against Ottawa, and I think that's going to speak volumes about if we can sneak into a wild card, because I've Ottawa, since the Four Nations and that trade for Cousins, they're rolling big time. And I don't know if I don't know. I just think they're not going to mess around, and we might be just a couple steps behind them. And so that's going to be a really serious challenge. And then you've got the Islanders after that, and they don't give us an easy time either. So we got some serious games, and even Toronto's in the schedule. I don't know where these clowns that say Montreal's got an easy schedule. There's a lot of big games here that have serious ramifications and implications for the playoffs. So, I mean, come on, you're playing Toronto. We just played the Panthers. We're playing big teams. I think, we've had the Islanders. We've got a lot of big games coming up. Two games against Ottawa. That's huge. Those are playoff games. Um, so I don't know who's saying that Montreal has this easy schedule. I sure as hell ain't seeing it. So that being said, I think the guys did great teamwork, played very well, didn't waste too much time in their own end, got the puck out very quickly. That was good to see. I can't knock any defenseman there. I just want to see more grit out of Stroobs and Jack Eye. I think they got that in their game, and they need to start pouring a bit of it on. We see that the offense is starting to come out of them a little bit. They're starting to show signs of, like, Jack Eye getting a lot more shots on net, and I think he's got to learn to get his step into them too. Don't just take a wrist shot or a snapshot. Get some of those big slap shots he had where he had tons of speed, because he shot one last night that was 91. He had a great opportunity. I think if he had have fired a slap shot, he may have put that away. And Strubal's been showing some, periodic good signs of offense as well. So with that being said, I mean, I just like our defensemen's games last night. I thought that all six of them played quite well. Um, just good job, and the forwards complemented them well and worked with them. Came back to play and get that puck moving out of their end. So great team effort. Go Habs, go! Pumped, pumped, pumped. That was great. But now this is where you find out. These are the games coming up. Ottawa. I think this is going to tell a big tale. And the hatred between them. This is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I think Ottawa's going to want to seal the deal. So we better be ready. Great job though for now, and thank you for watching. You've seen it here at Center Heist Productions, where the puck drops first. Catch you in the next episode. We'll do a review on the Ottawa Senators game, and let's pray to God that Montreal really comes out and wants those points. Catch you later for now. God bless. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe and likes.